Hey, Alex.
Hi.
How's it
Very
going?
nice place.
Thank you. Thank you.
Come.
How do you like it?
Very, very good. What brick's facade is this? It doesn't look like brick.
It's actually a special type of brick.
Okay.
Like it's never been used before, but the suppliers provided it for us because we were asking for a different type of colored brick.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few options, but the white one was where it's a concrete brick but uses recycled chippings. And I think that was where it gives it that terrazzo-like kind of look.
It does look a lot like terrazzo. I thought
Yeah.
it was bricks, but when I came closer, it's not.
So I think when you first look at it,
Mhm.
it seems like a very, I think people call it the introvert house
Okay.
because it does act like a privacy screen,
Mhm.
but actually behind there, it's another facade of the wall. So it's a double screen facade.
Yeah.
It helps control the temperatures inside the house, so it's not too hot. The brick actually helps to block the heat.
Yeah.
But it allows a lot of the air to actually still come through the penetrations within it.
Okay. So I do see the house being more, outwards, and that's indented. So the actual wall is inside.
That's
so
right.
this thing is built outside.
It's
to
built
sort of
outside.
give privacy at the same time. The heat contained here will be, cross-ventilated. That's
Exactly.
very-
So there's sort of a buffer there.
Yeah.
Really hot air from the outside gets
Doesn't
blocked
really
by
get
the
into the
brick
house.
wall, and then it kind of filters it with the air inside.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was quite something I think needs to be done more in Malaysia.
Mm.
Let's go in and see if it is cool.
So this is not the actual facade. So, I mean, this is the facade and that's the actual boundary.
That's right. So it
Okay.
creates kind of like this intermediate space, kind of like a lanai space.
Yep.
So a traditional Malay house, you would have kind of like this semi-outdoor space where you would kind of meet your guests and you greet them before actually entering the main area of the house. So I think we're kind of borrowing from a
Cultural Malay home.
cultural Malay home, but bringing it up to speed in today's context.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So how do we go through?
So we've got this mesh here, which is
Okay.
an interesting mesh.
All right.
It helps not only filters out bugs or anything, but it's actually a security mesh. So rather than those grills that you have, which can be very impeding, this actually prevents, or it actually allows clear view outside, but at the same time, a level of security, which gives you a sense of, I think, safety.
Okay. Wow, stepping in here, this is entirely different from the standard terrace houses.
Yeah. So we want you to kind of go through this tunnel.
Okay.
So a bit of compression before it kind of expands as you enter into the house, which opens up different spaces that we've kind of arranged to allow it to be a bit more open rather than what you see or what you may figure from the outside. So back in the day, I think the kitchen was up at front.
No.
We decided to rearrange it and make it an open plan. So originally there was a lot of columns and walls, which we decided to take away and shift it and align it to this wall.
Okay.
So there's actually a few different columns here. We worked closely with the structural engineer just to get it working. The compromise was the ceiling got dropped a little because we needed to strengthen the beams.
Yep.
It was okay for the dining area because everybody sits down, but then we decided to stagger it with this lightwell. But as you can see within this living space, we had to drop it to get the extra height so we can have a ceiling fan.
Yeah.
But the adjacency to the lightwell makes it very nice because it lends that volume to not give it that sense that's closed up or tight.
So because the ceiling was lower, so you make this a sunken living.
That's right.
Then it sort of don't really compromise in terms of height. Very, very clever move. And from the outside, when you look in, it feels like, so cozy stepping down.
It is very cozy. It's really suited for conversations. But also what we wanted to do was the landscape area. And we could kind of sit at this level, but be kind of down on the ground.
Yeah. I think that's
sunken in.
Yeah, that
next to
is
landscape.
really, really true. Yeah, at the eye level, you don't see the roof of neighbors, but you see that landscape out
The
there.
landscape.
Very nice horizons.
This space, what's missing in your traditional?
TV, of course.
Yeah. So we've opted without a TV
Okay.
to introduce a bit of art.
Okay.
And I think this was conscious in a sense that we're not looking at as this space as a TV-centric space. So we're looking at spaces where we can create conversations or spark some ideas. And we've introduced it in different parts of the house as well. So not only the greenery, which starts from the outside, and then as you move in, we look at a bit of art. Some of these, I got them from friends, so they have different meanings to them as well.
Okay.
The question is always, what comes first? The art or the space?
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I
always a
think
question.
when we were designing it, we were thinking there may be art for space. So we've kind of allowed for it to happen, but we weren't sure what type of art it was going to be. So I think it's always, this house is constantly work in progress.
Okay. Interesting. I see how you also lay out the lighting. So you have
Yes.
you have the cove lightings.
That's right.
At the same time, you also have the spot lightings that give you that ambience.
Yeah. We're not sort of lighting specialists.
Yeah, that's to be honest.
Usually we would just align the lights in rows.
Yeah, and you have like
just one flick, everything opens up.
It's quite interesting how little details I've noticed. I mean, being in the channel for so long, even the staircase.
Yeah.
You see that shadow line that is created?
Yes.
It would have been really different if it's just a standard tiles that goes all the way down. It's going to look bulky. This way, it makes it look slimmer. The shadow line makes it look like it's floating. You also use that for that staging area for the dining.
Yeah. This is a small bit of detail, but I think only the designer's eyes can see.
Yes.
Everybody else, they won't really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I think it goes beyond that. Even the tiles, we've kind of chamfered the edges to get really slim
that's right.
lines
Over here.
rather than us seeing the edges of the tiles. So we kind of incorporated that in. But again, this detail where we've got that shadow line where it kind of lifts this slab of stone, for example, as you're kind of walking above the stairs. So it gives you that extra feel of tactility that you introduce within the house.
Yeah. Some would say extra places to clean, but
no, but for designers,
yes.
Go that extra mile. Yes.
Okay. Speaking of the floating platform here, you also have a floating island.
Yeah, it's sort of like this large meteor where it's a big piece of rock.
Okay.
And usually when you kind of have this impression of a heavy piece of rock, it would be sitting immediately on the ground. So we've designed it in a way where we've offset sort of the plinth of it inside. So when you're standing pretty close to it, you only see that it's kind of, there's a large shadow and it's sort of being raised from the floor. So I think this gives it that visual playfulness, that it's heavy, but it's kind of floating. So I think it gets people to come closer, have a look, even question what type of stone this is,
this one.
Feel. And I think that's what we tried to do, considering this sits in a prominent area within the house.
A lot of people say countertops with granite or stones are always a luxury. But you see it here and you actually find it adds character, and it's also very functional.
It's very functional. I mean, we use it for everything, for baking, for cooking, even have coffee. But we even play ping pong on it. Believe it or not.
Wow.
If you open the drawer there, you'll see some pedals.
Okay.
Middle one. Just the middle one there, yeah.
All right. Let's go. He's not joking.
So we have our small games that sometimes once in a while we just pull up the nets and then just play ping pong.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
We've also customed our table. It was very difficult to find a really long table. We wanted this space to be kind of like a congregation space where we entertain family and friends. And usually big tables would be very hard to find. They would either be the ones where you needed to open up, which were really flimsy over time.
Mechanisms,
So we decided to just use what we like, a bit of timber and steel, and get the dimensions that we wanted. So now it's an 8-seater, but it can easily expand to a 10 and 12-seater, which works for us.
Yeah. I think it's also very important how it is designed to be very sleek. You know, so because you put in a big table here.
Yes.
If you have chunky, large dining chairs, the entire space is going to feel very congested.
That's right.
So this chairs, the design of the dining leg profiles, and the thickness of the chamfered edge, I think it makes the entire dining spacious yet very light.
Yeah,
I think
it's something that we kind of go for internally as a design office, looking at the slim lines, trying to make things a bit more sleek, refined, and using what our skill sets. They may not necessarily be the most expensive, but using it in a way that complements the space by these small gestures.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's check on upstairs.
Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
I'm very curious how the courtyard looks like from the top.
If you turn around, you'll see that small.
Oh, there's a hole down there.
There's a small hole.
Oh, it's
we've got a big door for us humans.
Okay.
And we've got a cat door for the cat. So I think that was a piece that we introduced within the joinery.
Okay.
So when we had guests around, probably we can close this.
Okay.
But in the everyday, just open that up so the cat kind of can go to its place and do its own thing.
Wow.
If it's anxious or nervous.
Okay. Nice. Cat's life.
Yep. So the stairs.
This is something that I was very curious about, because you have this large wall blocking the entire staircase, but there's this beam of lighting that comes from the top.
And I think if we hadn't done this, it would have been too tight and closed off, would have made it really unfriendly. It's not a lot, it's not a big gesture. We've just taken a strip of tiles, replaced it with transparent tiles, and that was enough just to get enough light in to make it very comfortable, and then just lit the space.
Yeah, enough lighting, not too much heat.
Yeah, and during the day, creates different patterns with the ray light, which is very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
And we've got this small peeping window for the cat. We just decided to leave. So when there's a lot of people, it gets anxious, it just peeks through and just looks at its sort of rakyat.
Okay. So I believe in most terrace houses, this is not the conventional staircase. How was it before?
The staircase position wasn't moved.
Okay.
But what we did was tweak it slightly, where we reconfigured it to be a single flight. So this was kind of a compromise. Okay. In some cases, after 12 steps, you'd have a landing, which is your typical arrangement, and then it turned a dog leg.
Okay. So I recall there should be a beam across here.
That's right. We continued it. But what happened was, at ground floor, it gave us that head height and clarity, which for the corridor, it would have been an eyesore. So it also allowed us a bigger space upstairs. So it's a slow transition into the different spaces without making the study or the office a bit too cramped.
Yeah.
This is where I work from home. So I would have my meetings before I go off to the office. 100% of our information is on cloud, and it makes it easier for us, not only for me, but even for the team as well.
Okay. So this is the master bedroom.
The master bedroom. So before, this was the space that was used as kind of like the secondary living area. And what happened when we were living here, it was just used as a super large corridor, so it was a waste of space. So I think the decision to move the door from that end to here allows us this space where we can turn it into a walk-in wardrobe, but at the same time we can leverage on the lightwell, which is adjacent to it, But yes, we can open this up and then it creates the breeze through it, or even I can call on my kids and say
dinner time
or something.
All right. I think this connection of the courtyard here and then this mirror cabinets here gives this impression of a bridge leading to the master. I think that's really nice. And that facade.
Yeah, the facade, it opens up, peels up. I think when you're close, it's not as intimidating. You can still see outside. I think there's enough penetration for you to kind of still see outside, keep the privacy. But I think what I spent a lot of time identifying this angle to really open up to the hills in Milawati. So I think this was the key move.
It would have been really different if it's just a flat wall.
Would have been very different. I think when we were living here prior, we just had those old small windows. And you'd just be facing, I think, the neighbors. And what this did was we kind of just tilted it, framed the view, and even I wake up in the mornings, open the curtains.
Interesting. Yeah, and it does theoretically having that wall to buffer that heat.
Yes,
it actually works here because doing that, you don't let the heat actually come to your glass, so it literally doesn't, penetrate into space.
That's right. Nice. That's right. When we do open this up, we get that breeze coming through as well.
Yeah.
Cross ventilation.
Yeah. So with a bedroom with this design, I'm very curious how the bathroom looks like.
Oh, the bathroom. So this is, I think,
spacious.
Very spacious. So I think a lot of people would be surprised in terms of how much we got into it. It's actually just one bathroom, but we managed to split into a wet and dry area. Got a tub in, but we made it work. So a lot of, I think, the preparations, either Wani doing her makeup, or I think spending her time in front of the mirror, she would prepare here, and then I think it just gives us a lot of moving in and out without interrupting each other.
Wow, a lot of details. Great stuff. Who says terrace house can't have bathtubs?
That's right, who says?